This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome in. Sorry we're a little late today. I was recording an interview. It was very interesting. Garrett, it was interesting, correct?
Yes, it was.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to say that just to placate me. I mean, Jack is shaking his head no. He doesn't think it was interesting, but Jack doesn't think anything I do is interesting. Jack is annoyed by me. He's been slowly plotting my murder. I know it. That, like, if something happens to me, it's like 50% Jack or 50% of my wife. Because here's the thing, Royden.
It's always the spouse, right?
Royden, do you watch the murder documentaries with your wife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've stumbled into the room or been sitting on the couch when they get popped on.
Yeah. If my wife is watching one, I'm watching it with her.
Right.
I want to know what kind of information she's taking in, right?
What to be on the lookout for.
I just, not that she's going to, but she has a couple times uttered something like, "Oh, well, that's where they messed up." Like she's taking notes. So,
yeah, my wife has said something that was like, "That's not how you do it." And I'm just like, "What do you mean?"
No, look. Here's the deal. If you're going to sever limbs,
yeah.
I mean, you gotta put them in disparate places, not all in one place. That's just weird.
Yeah,
I mean,
too easy to find.
Yeah, exactly.
Any clues?
So, yeah. The other day, I was watching Trap on the plane when we were on the way back. Really enjoyable movie. It's not one of the premier M. Night Shyamalans, but it's good. It's a fun watch. It's a good popcorn movie.
I described it as this on the podcast. It is the perfect home TV watch
or airplane movie. Because it's less than 2 hours, so you can watch it in the whole flight. Right. So it's a great airplane movie. But I'm watching it, and she's like, "Well, that would never happen. I would get out of that." Come on.
I'd escape that serial killer so easily.
He's trying to he should have just turned around. Just send her with her friend. Don't go yourself out in public.
Right. No.
Yeah. No, that's
where that psychopath messed up. Me, myself.
Yeah.
I'm built different.
This is not normal behavior.
Right.
That's Bush League stuff.
Well, my favorite thing about M. Night Shyamalan movies, and I swear we'll get to sports, is that M. Night Shyamalan, you have to suspend all disbelief that any human character is an actual human.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, because they do not act or behave like anyone has ever acted or behaved ever in any circumstance. The last time that happened was maybe The Sixth Sense, and that's his best movie. But since then, it's just all I
would say in Signs they did.
Signs, I guess.
In Signs, he had a really good, grounded, this would what it would be like if it actually happened, as opposed to
But something has shifted since then, where he writes and does dialogue where it's no human talks like this, and it's fun, but it is interesting.
I mean, can you imagine? I'm going to ruin the twist of The Village for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. What the amount of effort it took for those people to shift their whole thing,
right?
To pretend to be, colonial pilgrims
out in the woods, yeah,
yeah. That.
No one can know.
Yeah.
Except for all the outside world that is probably do you see this going on out there?
I mean, there's a big fence that's here. We can't go back there. I don't know why. Anyway, so I'm not sure if you saw, because it's gone around Twitter a lot in the college football world. Kirk Herbstreit has been accused of being a shill for the SEC.
Wow.
Today he was on with Andy Staples and Ari Wasserman. And Garrett, he said, "That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm not a shill for the SEC. I'm a shill for the brands." That's not exactly what he said. But he was like, no, it's not about the SEC. He's like, if we're talking about ratings and you've got Ohio State, Notre Dame, Penn State, and Texas, he's like, that's going to be great for ratings. The only way, he's like, can you imagine if it's Ohio State and Notre Dame in the final, what the ratings going to be for that? Oh my God, that's going to be great. So what he said was, no, I'm not an SEC elitist. I'm just a general elitist. So he even said tiny Clemson. You took a shot at Clemson? Who's won 2 natties recently? They're beneath you now? And here I'm listening to talk. I'm like, now you're making me advocate for Dabo friggin' Sweeney?
Yeah.
Come on, man. It is something I've been saying. One, it's not about conference supremacy. The biggest thing that Greg Sankey has done is convinced everybody that the SEC as a whole is better than every other conference. That is patently untrue. The SEC at the top has been, but also, if there was no Nick Saban, are we having this discussion?
No.
Okay. So really this is about Nick Saban. And in the post-Nick Saban world, that's the reality we need to look at. Right. And if they do it again without him, more power to them, and then I'll say I'm wrong, but this is Nick Saban. Like, this is Nick Saban doing this. If Nick Saban stays with the Dolphins and Kirby Smart never works for him and all of that, we probably don't have this ability to skew everything the SEC's way. So, and I know that, like,
LSU and
playing,
Florida and stuff like that,
yeah.
But it's, Florida went downhill, and then LSU, it's like every, a pig finds a truffle, LSU is good for every few years. It's like, they're back.
And when LSU gets a quarterback, which is, they have one with us right now. They have a very good quarterback. You just saw him live and in person.
Unbelievable.
He's very, very good. If they could, the thing about LSU with Saban and with with Saban, that was before they necessarily needed the big, Saban won national titles with Brody Croyle and Greg McElroy. He was in that era of look, I'll have a guy who's going to, when I tell him to throw the ball to that guy, he'll throw the ball to that guy. That's all I need. And turn around, hand it off to this big, gigantic running back. Same LSU, Alabama early era. And then, obviously, the offense has changed, and you had to change that. He did that, too. What LSU did was, under Les Miles and then at O, Les Miles, had no quarterback and then got one. And then they had no quarterback for years, which is why they fired Les Miles. They had 21 players out of 22 that were, at worst, fourth-round draft picks. But the quarterback was a
dumpster fire,
not even welcome in the Arena League.
Is this Matt Flynn erasure?
No, Matt Flynn was the one I'm talking about. Where
he was the one that Saban was able to work with.
Yeah, well, he was Matt Mock. And
Matt Mock.
And then Matt Flynn was the one that won with Les Miles.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So Jamarcus Russell was the big time top pick. He didn't win. Matt Flynn did. Yeah. But then all of a sudden, hey, Joe Burrow was like, I think I could probably be pretty good down there with, all of this.
It's also a confluence of events because Burrow wasn't Burrow until that season.
Yeah. No, so, he was, but he was blocked. And it shows you hey, go somewhere, play for 2 years. And after that first year of finding your sea legs, he was fine that first year. Nobody was complaining about him. It was just okay, this guy's got some potential. And then all of a sudden,
60 touchdowns.
They had that season where he found himself. And that's kind of how sports goes. Serena Williams didn't just crawl onto the court and, hit the ball 100 miles an hour. I mean, there was some work involved. You gotta work at it. I think people forget that part of it. Michael Jordan used to not be as good at basketball as he was when he was with the Bulls. But eventually, guess what? He got there. He didn't win a title until his seventh year in the league? Fifth, sixth.
In fact, he had losing records and was balanced. He couldn't get past the Pistons or Boston for forever.
They couldn't. They were just so. And part of that wasn't just Michael; it was building the team around him.
Right.
But those things happen. So I do think that I think it's all this propaganda. But to get back to Kirk Herbstreit. This is what we're talking about with, okay, fine. You say you're not an SEC elitist. Okay. But you're an elitist, and that's not going to help anybody. Absolutely raining down because you're I might have to watch Indiana and Boise State in a game one time. Who cares?
Yeah.
We need the football people to embrace this like the basketball tournament does.
Right.
And look, what we found with the basketball tournament is the cream will rise to the top most of the time. You get some good Cinderella runs, and those are great, and we talk about them. But it's not every year. Some years it's two ones and two twos.
Yeah.
Some year it's 3 1s and one random 4. It's different all the time.
Sometimes you'll get a
out.
Butler that gets to the championship game, but they never won the championship. The whole look. I don't want to put words in Kirk Herbstreit's mouth or ascribe something that may or may not be true. But look, the 4-letter network pays his checks, and I'm not saying that somebody from on high is telling him, "Hey, we need to push for said schools," because I don't want to subscribe that to him. That's unfair. But in the end, you would be lying to yourself if you didn't think that that ESPN didn't want Notre Dame, Texas, Ohio State, and Penn State in this game. You'd be lying to yourself. Arizona traveled well to that bowl game. Arizona State, rather, traveled well to that bowl game or that semifinal. Is it quarterfinal? I'm so throwing around. Quarterfinal. God. They travel well to that quarterfinal, and they have a big fan base. But Arizona State is a scintilla of the branding that the University of Texas is.
Yeah.
And look, I, as a football fan, would have loved to see the bowling ball with razors, Cam Scatterbo, run again. Would have loved to have done that. And I think actually for, football game's sake, to have him and to tout that story would have been really cool. But in the end, you got Texas and Ohio State.
Yeah.
You got what you wanted.
So
crying about don't put in the newspaper that I'm mad that Indiana and Boise State and all these teams got in. And don't say that I'm mad.
Also, I'm gonna throw something out there on ratings that I think the people who chase them need to hear.
Also, what do we care about ratings in college football?
Okay, so when it comes to especially the championships of something, the playoffs of something, the Super Bowl has varying ratings. It's always the number one thing, but some years it's less than others. Some years it's more. And maybe there's not as much interest in certain teams.
They also have not figured out yet how to count Nielsen ratings for these streaming services. They're just now figuring that out, by the way. And also, people steal the game. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah. So, all those things. But has anybody, does Fox not want the World Series because the ratings are lower if it's Kansas City and the Rockies?
Right.
No, they don't. It's still going to be the World Series. They just know that, all right, well, we got the Dodgers and Yankees. Great for that lottery ticket. Awesome. That's awesome. But they still know that, look,
the Rangers in Arizona wasn't going to be the Oscars, a billion people are going to watch
it's two way bigger cities than people even realize because we've been fed all this about New York and LA. Dallas and Phoenix is market 4 and market 11.
No, so, I understand that. I'm just saying that
we don't get
more people tuned in to watch New York and LA.
Yeah. I mean, and you'll even hear it. What's funny to me? You'll even hear it if it was the Astros and the Nationals, people are like, well, I mean, this might be done. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The 3rd and 8th largest cities in the country? What? No, it's going to be fine.
I've seen several reporters be like, mid-market teams like Houston. I'm like, excuse me?
Mid? What?
Mid-market.
What's your definition of mid?
Yeah.
Have you tell me you haven't been to Houston without telling me you haven't been to Houston.
Stop at Brooklyn and then that's where it is.
Yeah. This is just a tiny little city.
Yeah.
That it only has 2 major airports. What are you talking about? Yeah. So those things are silly to me. But what Kirk did admit was that he's an elitist. Okay, at least it's out there. You're an elitist. The little guy pisses you off. That's what it is. And part of it, I think this is what happened to him. Because he used to not be this way. The minute he moved into the booth and started doing these games, and it got worse when he went to the NFL, you don't want to see, and I know this, you know this, the worst thing that can happen to you as a play-by-play or color analyst is a blowout.
It's awful.
It is awful. Just professionally, you have to, you have to put all of this sauce on a dish that you cannot completely swallow. It's just not good.
Yeah.
And So you hate it. Like, you do enough of them, and you're like, oh, gosh. And look, I've done play-by-play for a team that went 1-9. Okay? In high school. And believe me, the one I was excited. It was an exciting game. It came down to the last second. Parrish Cox was on that team. He was an NFL player and made this great play to win the game, and it was very exciting. If you compare the audio of that broadcast to the audio of the other 9, you would think I was a completely different human being. Like, it was exciting. It was into that. And then, look, I've done teams where, you know, they've been, like, the team that we do is blowing somebody out, and I'm like, can we just go home?
Right.
Like, is anybody
why
still
are we even broadcasting
like, why,
this?
like, can we just say, like, hey, it's 52-3, the fourth quarter just started. We're going to be here tearing down. We'll come back on the air if this team scores 7 touchdowns in the next 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't really think there's anything interesting to talk about this year.
If the heat death of the universe happens within the next few minutes, we will come back on air.
If somehow some kid discovers that he's a metahuman and, like, scores these 7 touchdowns, we will come on and be like, hey, Kal-El's real. Like, somebody go to the North Pole and find the Fortress of Solitude because he knows he can fly now. But I don't I get that. So then you get to the NFL part of it where he had to do those Thursday night games, which were even worse than blowouts.
Yeah.
It was a crap team versus a crap team, and it makes you bitter. So then,
with an Al Michaels who could not be bothered.
Yeah. So,
I mean, he's done it all, but, like, also,
yeah.
I
mean, look, he's there for the check.
Yeah.
You know, Amazon, Bezos has got a lot of money, you know, and if it's Jaguars Titans on Thursday night in the Color Rush uniforms, then by gum, we're going to do it.
And the check cashed.
Yeah, and the check cashed. So he's there doing these NFL games, and 1 out of every 7 he gets to do is actually a good game between good teams.
Yeah.
And so much so that I think Jeff Bezos told the NFL, like, hey, you got to throw me.
You got to start throwing
me a bone.
But that doesn't even, like, on a whole side tangent to that, it doesn't even matter because you should not be playing an NFL game on, like, 3 days rest. Mm-hmm. So the product becomes bad even with good teams.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Like, Thursday should be reserved for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's it. Not every week. And I can tell you wholeheartedly, if you ask the players, would you like to keep playing on Thursday night? Or would you like to play 30 games? I'm like, can we just play 30 games? Because this Thursday thing sucks.
Yeah.
Like, they really.
Give me the injuries. I don't know, Thursday, whatever.
Yeah. No, this Thursday, they all hate it. They all hate it. And plus, you get, like, because of the injuries, you get, like, so he's gotten to, like, and there's times where he's like, oh, great, I've got the 49ers and the Bills on a Thursday night. And it's like, yeah, but Josh Allen pulled his hamstring, and if he played on Sunday, he'd play. But it's Thursday, so this is the day we give him treatment. So we're going to sit him out, and then Deebo Samuel has a toe injury. So, again, if it was a Sunday, he'd play, but since it's Thursday night, we're going to sit him out.
Brock Purdy has the flu.
Yeah, like, well, you know, he got the flu yesterday. If he was playing on Sunday, he'd probably be all right. You know, but since it's today when we normally do the second walkthrough, we're not in the same thing. So I think all that has made him bitter and jaded, and he just wants to see good games. I'm not making it acceptable for him to be this bitter and jaded. I'm just telling you how it happened.
I think that's a good theory. I do find that whenever we now have, like, the biggest talking heads of the sport that aren't, like, national writers and I've seen a lot of national writers being, like, going back against that idea of the elitism thing. But the people that get on TV or that at least are broadcast right to, you know, your grandfather's television screen, like, who's ever going to get access? This seems mean, but the lowest common denominator that's going to get access to college football news, the access is coming from people that, for lack of a better term, have shown those elitist takes of it's these 5 schools that we need to be worried about.
Yeah.
At all times.
So look, it's not. But if you think it's the conferences, look, they're riding the wave. But Greg Sankey, as an evil genius, knows this, that he's built on a house of cards that was Nick Saban. And now he's got Nick Saban working for ESPN, so that theoretically would help him out. But Nick Saban, like, I will never not respect Nick Saban. I will never not like Nick Saban. There's nothing. But you can tell he's been pilled a little bit because he's like, oh, well, our games are so much harder than everybody else's. And I think that other coaches are like, look, coach, we love you, but shut up. No, your games are not harder than ours. All of our games are hard. It's about you versus me today. And the blowouts happened. The blowouts were happening before. When it was two SEC teams, sometimes there's a blowout. So, Again, what are we talking about here other than revisionist history that's controlled by elitists, which is really how history in and of itself has always worked.
History is defined by the winners.
Yes.
I just think what needs to happen is that you're just going to have to, like, Notre Dame is going to have to, like, just win a championship. You know, Ohio State is going to have to win a championship for the first time since 2014 was when they won 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those two schools, Penn State, I think it goes a long way. You know, now we're going to have to start getting into the Big Ten elitism, I guess, if one of those two schools win. But I think those three schools are going to have to win. If Texas somehow sneaks this out, which I don't think, this is my prediction. I don't know if they have a prayer against Ohio State the way that they're playing right now. But if Texas somehow sneaks it out, then it's just like, all right, maybe we got to do this again. But we also have the argument that team was built in the Big 12, and Joey McGuire came on our Big 12 show on KWTX and said as much. He's like, all these teams were built in these other conferences. They're having this success. So the idea that this current conference, and I guess that's how it works, gets to coast off the success of a team that was built in the Big 12 is kind of funny. Mm-hmm. But so if Texas sneaks it out, then we'll have to do it all over again. Mm-hmm. And I would even say that if Ohio State sneaks it out, we're going to have to do it all over again. But, like, really what it's going to take is that you're going to have a run of several years in a row where a Big 12 school wins the championship. An ACC team wins the championship. Notre Dame actually gets off the schneid and wins a championship for the first time in forever. And, then we're going to have to reevaluate. But right now, everyone has the graphic of this many SEC champions in the 21st century.
Yeah.
And everybody has the graphic, and they will pull it up no matter what happens.
Yeah.
So until you get you'd need like 5 in a row to really turn the tide on that.
And look, I don't know if any conference is going to get 5 in a row in a 12-team playoff.
No.
Like that's
I'm saying 5 non-SEC.
Yeah. But I mean, like, even still, like, I don't know who's going to get, like, I don't know if you can get 5 non-SEC in a row.
Or you'd probably not.
But like
the way that we've seen this parity work out now.
Well, yeah, because in the 12-team playoff, it's going to make it easier. Like, it's going to make it easier for random teams to pop up there that haven't.
Yeah.
Look, Notre Dame wouldn't have been in this thing maybe in the 14.
I would say they probably wouldn't have been.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't have been. Like, the NIU loss would have been the thing, like, well, it's just classic Notre Dame. They're good but not great, And so, I don't know. We'll see. Let's take a break right here. When we come back, is having 4 big brands the best and worst thing too? If you're a fan of the little guy, this thing sucks. If you're a fan of the big guy, this thing's great. If you're kind of in the middle, like, all right, well, I guess it's going to be awesome, but I would have liked to see maybe some change. Although none of these teams have won. Look, Penn State hasn't won since the 80s. Notre Dame hasn't won since the 80s. Texas hasn't won since 2005. Ohio State's the most recent one, and it was a decade ago.
Right.
So it's teams that aren't always there. So that's the first good thing. What's the next good thing, or what are the bad things about having all these brands in there? We'll talk about that next. This is the Triple Option on 365 Sports.
Sending someone a boring gift basket? Don't. I know, gifting is hard, but don't give basic. Gift Boardery. Fully arranged gourmet charcuterie boards. Perfect for any occasion. Birthdays, engagements, thank you gifts. Boardery has you covered. Plus, if you forget to get a gift, Boardery ships overnight nationwide. So no more excuses, Cheryl. Don't gift basic. Gift Boardery.
That's far.
So much forgiveness. Wait, did you say forgiveness like far? Or forgiveness like forgiveness? Forgiveness. Forgiveness. Forgiveness.
I'm hearing far.
Forgiveness. Like forgiveness. Forgiveness? Forgiveness.
I'm still hearing far, but whatever.
Introducing Stealth 2 with more carbon for more forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Just hit it.
What's up? We outside. Having fun doing what I want, cause you know the sun beating down kinda like a drum. Look how I do it. Look how I do it. Another beautiful day out there, folks, so get out there, but don't forget your sunscreen, UV index. I just wanna have a good time. It's all on me, pleasure's mine. The weatherman said it's the right time, so we gon' get it jumping till the night time. We gon' get it. We gon' get it. We gon' get it. We gon' get it. We outside. Yeah, I might just take a dive with it, feel alive with it, ride with it, cause I'm fly with it. Loud with the trouble, loud with the bass. No clouds in the way, smile on my face. Look how I do it. Look at me, look at me, look at me splash. Look at me, look at me, look at me splash. Look at me, look at me, look at me splash. Look at me, look at me splash.
To be your best requires commitment, dedication, and intensity. It's what defines elite athletes and inspires Airwave to find new ways to optimize your performance. Introducing Airwave Recovery, a mouthpiece designed to work while you sleep to further unlock your potential. Airwave Recovery features our patented reflex technology. Small, integrated bumps uniquely positioned to activate your tongue's natural response. Your tongue will instinctively move forward, opening your airway and improving your quality of sleep. And thanks to our patented fitting material and a purpose-designed support wall, you'll enjoy a secure, comfortable fit all night long. With Airwave Recovery, you sleep better and recharge faster. Airwave Recovery, recharge your potential.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Alongside Royden Ogletree of KWTX, here we are in the studio.
Yes.
And I apologize for the late start today. I was recording an interview. Royden was staring daggers through me because he's on double duty this week.
Yep.
And he's taking an hour out of his time to be here with us today. So,
Is this the kind of show that you're running?
I mean, yes, it is.
The kind of ship you run around here?
It is the kind of shit.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. Look, I thought Royden was going to be on my side, but now he's Team Jack.
I see that.
Team Jack is everything that's to undermine me. And he'll pretend to support me sometimes. I'll think I finally turned the corner on this guy. And then he just, he'll show me how to do something on a computer, and then we're back to square one.
Oh, this is how you work the remote.
Yeah. Hey, Jack, how do I change the resolution of this picture? Oh, that was dumb. I feel dumb now. And Jack feels superior, which was his goal the whole time.
Isn't it funny? We all kind of get, like, when you were teaching your dad how to work the VCR and you're just like rolling your eyes and like, no, you got to plug these into the back of the TV.
I pay attention. I try to pay attention. I hope that that's true among the people here. Like, when you teach me to do something, I really do pay attention and ask questions. I feel like my parents, grandparents, my in-laws, they just want me to do it. Yeah. I genuinely do want to learn how to do it because I don't like asking for help.
Rather die than ask for help.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like asking for, and I also don't like bothering people when it's something I can do myself because I've been in Jack and Emery and Garrett's shoes before, and if I can just do it and not have to be like, hey, will you show me how to do this, then we can save everybody's time, and it's more beneficial to the team.
Yeah, but it all comes around eventually where you're just like,
well,
how do I cast the AI show
Yeah.
onto the television screen? Well, first of all, Dad, we don't have a television anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's you got to plug it into your brainwave.
Yeah.
I
was in the Domain in Austin this weekend, and I saw.
Congratulations!
I saw the Tesla robot up close.
Oh yeah.
Like, could he have made that a little more, like, welcoming and not... I mean, I, Robot's a terrifying book and movie.
Yeah.
It looks like that. Honestly, it's nightmare fuel. I have twice woken up in the night since Saturday because of having a dream about that thing. It doesn't have a face.
That's disconcerting.
Yeah. It is nightmare fuel.
Hi, I'm your personalized robot. I swear I won't murder you.
I mean, it's the one that, like, it would have, like, the smiley face and then change to, like, the red angry face. That's what it would do. Yeah. No. And we were supposed to get sex robots first.
Shame, really.
Yeah.
It's really a shame. We're really going backwards, you know?
I mean, it's not... I mean, nobody would want to sleep with this thing.
0 out of 10 could not have sex with the robot.
Yeah. Hey, like that's I'm
returning it to Tesla. 0 out of 10.
If the guy goes in, and is like, look, I want to buy it, but I'm not attracted to it. And the guy's like, what? Like, well, I mean, what do you think I'm going to do with this thing? Yeah, it's just not. It's very. Can you, it up a little bit? I don't know. So.
Sir, I don't know if you know what this is for. No, I know what it's for.
No, I don't think you know what it's for. I think
they're having an all-hands meeting, and once again, they are trying to have sex with these robots. We got to stop.
Yeah.
We got to just discontinue them. Well, they are our highest seller.
Yeah. People are retrofitting them.
Oh, no.
There's this whole websites of here's how to make your Tesla robot.
Here's how to 3D print.
Here's how to Westworld in real life.
To buy this aftermarket.
Yeah.
Jeez.
There's a solution you have to buy to clean it though.
Yeah.
It's special. Like the one I used to use my ice maker.
Yeah.
That's like desalinization.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So our college football topic.
Yeah.
And again, that's the beauty of the show. Yesterday, I did a PSA about how to avoid a sexual harassment suit.
Oh, congratulations.
Would you like to know what the thing is?
Sure.
Don't.
Okay.
So if what you're thinking about doing,
don't do it. Right.
Don't do that thing.
That's actually very good advice.
Like, don't. Like, if you think that's a good idea, don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go home to your wife.
Yeah. Don't. Like, hey, you know that thought about, like, the dress she's wearing? Don't. Don't. You have it. Like, everybody has thoughts. The strongest among us are the ones that know what are inside thoughts and outside thoughts. So don't.
Very good advice for if you're a teenager listening out there.
Or an
adult, actually anyone in the workplace.
Or a 50-year-old man that's made six figures for most of his life and feels like he has no consequences.
Right. That's also true.
Yeah. So those things, these are important things I'm teaching. But Royden, are you excited that we have a brand-filled college football playoff semifinals? Final Four?
What a hard cut.
Yeah.
I am kind of excited about it because, look, I'm not like a college football purist or anything like that. I think it would be cool. I'm always a fan of the upsets, especially in college basketball when you're just like, oh, we got George Mason versus Butler, who I just kept saying Butler, but like that's always fun to me. And then you get to watch players that maybe you wouldn't normally have seen otherwise. But, at the end of the day, I think it is fun that more people, if you're just going purely off of an online discourse point of view, which a lot of watching sports is now, you're going to get the most reaction to these games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, it's going to be the most interacted with. I don't know. Now, Indiana fans came out of the woodwork over the past month, but in force. But I don't think like like, quite frankly, I don't, and I'm from down here, but I don't know an Indiana fan. I know plenty of Texas fans. I know people that actually, you know, root for Ohio State and Notre Dame. Penn State less so. But the idea that you were going to get that much online discourse and fun and banter from a Boise State versus name a school game, I just don't think that's true.
Yeah.
Now you have two of the biggest brands in football going up against each other to determine who's going to get slandered for another, you know, year before we do this all over again. And the slander that's going to come from, I keep going back to the Ohio State and Texas game, it's going to be all time. It's going to be all time trash talk. And I think, but we also got, quite frankly, kind of the more even matchups that we were going to get as well too.
Yeah.
There's not one that's like super, super overmatcher that you couldn't see winning either game, I believe.
Thus is why you have more than 4 teams in a playoff.
Yeah, no, I understand. The cream rises to the top, like you were saying, and it normally does that with college basketball as well, like we've been saying, or, you know, baseball or anything like that.
Yeah,
It's the same. That's why tournaments exist. I keep having this conversation with people, and people are like, well, you know, these other teams are just the best teams. And I'm just like, have people forgotten what tournaments are?
This is the first time we've done it like this. The first time.
Yeah.
So let's let history play itself out and see where it goes. Occasionally, Stony Brook wins the title in baseball, and you know that like baseball is the best example of the center of like the team kind of
Long Beach State or whatever.
Yeah, like okay, Pepperdine, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you know. Augie Garrido made his bones at Pepperdine long before he went to Texas. Okay, like that happened there then. That sport was built for it, though, and basketball was kind of built for it. But eventually, look, yes, it's going to be UConn and Duke and North Carolina and Kansas. Like that's those teams because their apparatus just, you know, thrives on it so much. Yeah. Yes. Look, if they were bad at basketball at Kansas for a year, and like they don't know what bad is. They know what disappointing is. They don't know what bad is. You know, Duke doesn't know what bad is. North Carolina, they don't know what bad is. They just know North Carolina has missed the tournament, right? UConn has missed the tournament, but they're now the best program in the country year over year in the last 20. But there is, like, they don't know bad. If there was one bad year where they missed the tournament, the entire city of Lawrence would be on fire. Like they just like it would just okay. What do we have to like? President fired, AD's fired, coach fired. Like this is not what happens here.
Yeah, yard sale.
Yeah. Oh, occasionally we get bounced in the round of 32, but it's Sweet 16 or better every year. Like I had a lot of injuries. Okay, got bounced in the round of 32. Okay, they can rationalize their way. Most fans can rationalize their way out of it. I know one whose name I shall not mention who can't. She can't.
Would this person live with you?
She does.
Okay.
She does. And she does. She does. It's funny. You know, it's if she was the AD and after some of these losses, the way that if she would just say unfiltered, unfiltered what she says.
Crazy thought.
Yeah, no, but like, so Kansas, who did they lose to? Like their first loss this year. And she was like, I'm tired of hearing this crap about number one team. If you're the number one team, be the number one team. And I was like, man, if you were the AD, I would love for you to walk into the office and tell that to Bill Self. If you're the number one team, be the number one team, Bill. And then just walk out. I'm not here for anything less.
Yeah, sometimes I think that would work.
Yeah. Well, it's not. If everybody thinks you're the number one team, you better start thinking you are too.
Yeah.
And start acting like it.
My favorite solution to everything is just like simply play better.
Yeah.
Just be better at the sport that you're playing? No,
Hey,
I don't know.
They lost to West Virginia at home last week, and that was not.
Wasn't good in your place?
It was not. I mean, it was not. It's one thing to lose on the road, but to sully Allen Fieldhouse with a loss,
God forbid.
You are spitting on Wilt Chamberlain's corpse. Like, that's what you're doing.
And he's still around. No, Wilt.
No,
Wilt. I was thinking Kareem.
No, yeah.
Wilt's been gone
for a minute. Yeah, he's been gone for a minute. So, no.
What do you make of because you're teetering on you want to like it.
Oh, the playoff?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm fine with it. Like, I have no affection at all for Penn State. And that's like I have a moderate bit of affection for Notre Dame because I'm Catholic. Lapse, but Catholic. Mm-hmm. You know, they're part of all of us for some reason. And that, like, there are some Catholic people, a lot of Catholic people who can't stand them because mostly it was like shoved down our throats for so long of like, when you go to college, you're going to go to Notre Dame? Like, I mean, there's like a bunch of other college, like Jack's that way. Like, how many people, Jack, in your life, though, like just threw, like randomly, like, Notre Dame, huh? Notre Dame? And like they threw it out there and you're like, well, I don't, you know, there's other places. Like, there's lots of Catholics. They don't all go to Notre Dame.
Yeah. That's so funny because I grew up Baptist and that's like, I mean, my parents wanted me to go to Baylor, but it was never like, you got to go to Baylor.
No, it's about 50-50. Like, you'll run up against it, you know, and it's just because it was just so synonymous with everything. But especially when you live in South Florida, which is mostly people from the north, that like Notre Dame is all they know, you know, so that was how it was. So I have a little bit of affection for Notre Dame. That's who I'm wanting to win this thing, honestly. If you had to tell me which one I pick.
I think it'd be good for the sport if they actually reeled one off.
I have no affection for Penn State. I don't feel one way or the other about them as an institution. I'm not a big fan of James Franklin, so I'm just going to leave it at neutral. They're at neutral. I have never had a positive emotion about Ohio State or Texas. Never once in my life. Nor do I anticipate that happening.
You're not going to get the warm fuzzies for Sark?
I like Steve Sarkisian. I do. I like him. But I don't. That doesn't mean I want him to win games. Yeah, it doesn't mean that I want everything that's best for him. I hope that his life goes well outside of his work.
Yeah.
But his work is the thing that bothers me about him the most.
I dislike everything that you do, but I hope you're doing okay.
Yeah. I know. I really do. And I've told this story a million times. We had him at Big 12 Media Days a few years ago before we knew that they were leaving. And right before, like literally right before. Like we had Big 12 Media Days, and then 2 weeks later we were, what? But we had Sark on, and all three of us, Craig, Oklahoma fan, Smokey, Nebraska fan, Paul, lifelong Texas disliker. And we were like, shit, I like him. I was madder at him for being likable than I was at Tom Herman for being unlikable.
I'm not supposed to enjoy your company.
Yeah, I'm not like this. I was, you know, I remember my uncle called and goes, he was a huge Aggie and was like, I saw your interview with Sark. And I was like, yeah, I like him. And he was just like, I'm ashamed of you. I'm like, I'm ashamed of me. I'm ashamed of me. I shouldn't, you know. But, you know, here's who I blame. Here's who I blame for letting these emotions into my heart. I blame Earl Campbell.
Oh.
Because when you meet Earl Campbell, you forget about all that stuff. Because Earl is like the best.
Yeah.
He's one of the best people. And you just don't care that he's the greatest football player that ever played at Texas. Mm-hmm. And I will not take an argument other than him. He's the greatest. He will always be the greatest. Everyone else is vying for second.
Okay.
Most people at Texas would say that. There might be some fans that, you know, were born after Earl Campbell, but
Ricky.
Yeah, Earl Campbell is the best. Ricky Williams would give you a pot lollipop and sit down and tell you how much better Earl Campbell is than him.
That'd be a fun conversation.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for that. Garrett, one day, if we ever run into Ricky.
Oh. My man. I'll holler at Ricky.
Look, he was here at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, and he offered me one. And I was like, you know, I've got some stuff to do.
I got a job.
And I also don't know, like, I don't know what your lollipop does to people.
No, you don't want it.
Like if you buy some from a store in like a bag, it tells you how much weed's in there. If Ricky Williams gives you one, I'm pretty sure I don't know how much is in there.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be a Ricky level dose.
And a Ricky level dose.
It's like an elephant gun.
Yeah.
Well, that's what that is. We've got a cool show. We've got former Penn State quarterback Christian Hackenberg.
Hey.
Tomorrow we'll have.
I still have Christian Hackenberg stock.
Tomorrow we actually have Thursday.
I think it's Thursday.
Thursday, we have Fozzie Whitaker, former Texas running back.
Oh, yeah.
We have Baylor defensive end Trevin Ma'ai, who's going to the NFL. We have Billy Embody talking about Texas losing their president to SMU. And we've got Craig Snooks off the radar and John McClain. We didn't get to talk about the NFL playoffs, but they're still going to be going on next week when I see you, and we won't be 15 minutes late. So
I'm not super excited, but I'll be here about the NFL playoffs. I'll talk about them in earnest.
If the Texans win, you can come in like just strutting.
Yeah. Just
and I want you to walk like this.
Just walk in and Ravens or Chiefs, yay. Woohoo! Always fun.
Yeah, this is going to end so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least your team's in the playoffs.
Well, that is true.
Yeah. So, anyway, everyone Emery's a Texans fan.
Congratulations.
Playoffs. Jack's a Packers fan. Playoffs. Garrett's a Commanders fan. Playoffs. Me, Cowboys fan.
Draft season, baby.
That's right. 12th pick, baby. That's going to do it for us. This is the Triple Option.
You spent hours selecting your patio sofa. Choosing that grill would have taken weeks. Probably your car needed way more time. For sure, you would have spent months mulling over that pool of yours.